and welcome to my latest video. I'm in the Peak District, walking, and at the moment the weather's good. What else are you going to see in this video? Mostly walking, damage to my camper van. That's a bit nasty, which I shall have to sort out, but apart from that, dry weather, shall we say. Not lovely and sunny weather, but join me for the ride. I haven't actually driven my van. It's been here since October, and I haven't driven it, and I need to get the indicators working before I can drive it. So that's my next job. I've got to take the dash out. I won't be filming it, partly because it's probably quite boring, and secondly I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. I've just got to try and find what I hope is just a loose wire and then connect it. Be amazed if it starts. I won't run the battery down, I'll start it later. I splashed a bit of fuel into the air cleaner and it fired up almost straight away. Oops. Yeah, it's all running well, but I haven't got the faintest idea about the indicators. That might have to be a job for later. And that's where the van is going to be stored for a while. And that's where she will rest for a little while, in the dry. Well, hello again from Derbyshire. I'm in Darley Dale, which is in the Derbyshire Dales, and probably not supposed to step over this fence, but I think that might be the River Derwent. I'm not sure. And I'm at this campsite, not a campsite at all, I'm on a pub. So as you can see it over there, the square and compass. I just asked someone on the bar and I can stay here for free as long as I buy food. So that's what I'm going to do, and maybe go for a walk tomorrow. I think there's walks from here, and so that's the plan. And two CVs just driven past just after I parked, and I bought myself what's classified as dark mild in these here parts. One of the things I've noticed about this is paint flaking off, so that is a job for me sometime soon. I have to say it was a horrible drive here, but the A17 always is. However, it got up to 14 degrees, and about 3 nights ago it was freezing, and the van dumped all the water. But not now. Maybe spring really is on its way. Had to chuckle. I used to think it's a French thing. I parked in an empty car park, and 10 minutes later another van came in and parked right next door. Still, because it's a right-hand drive, their door's on the other side. Otherwise, if we both stepped out of the vans at the same time, then we'd be bumping into one another. I think the pub stops serving food fairly early on, so I will have to go over there and order soon. It's 4:30.
No, I just did you fit it? Why you screw it up?
Well, that was very nice. I had fish, I had a crumble, I had several pints of beer. Hopefully this road will be a little bit quieter later. It's not quite dark, and it's just gone 6 o'clock, and I'm going back to my van. Well, I had a good night's sleep, a very long night's sleep, and this is one of the very first times I've ever parked somewhere where you can actually open the back door and have a lovely view. It's cold though this morning, but the sky looks clear, so it should be a good day, I hope. I pulled into this parking place and I didn't spot that rock. As you can see, it's gouging into the sill, which is a real pain. But worse, I can't even reverse because I'm in a puddle and everything's slipping. So I don't really know what to do from here. Try and find a farmer with a Land Rover, I think is my only solution. Well, that's the damage. All to the door, I think, apart from a little bit to the sill. And you can see the stone. I got out, you can see that's the dip I dropped into. I got out of it by a little bit juggling, but obviously that's some damage to the van, which I imagine is going to be quite expensive to insure, to have repaired. Well, after that disappointing start to the day, I will now go and see if I can have a little walk somewhere. Now this is right underneath the railway line, so it's quite busy. Been recommended as a place to stay for the night, but I think I'll go and find a campsite. I believe that's Kinder Scout up there, so I've actually retraced my footsteps. I'm now behind the camper because I saw this footbridge, so I'll have a go and see if well, I'll walk up there in the sunshine anyway, even if I don't go very high. That doesn't seem to be very suitable. Or maybe. No, not long enough. Well, that's why it's open then. That wind is so strong it almost blew me over. I'm resting now in the lee of a wall, and judging by the shell of an egg, I'm not the first person to have done that. That's Rush Up Edge to the right, and I think it's Mam Tor to the left, and that little notch there I drove over to get into Edale. I'm actually in the train station. You better see the signs there. I've just stopped for something to eat. It's quite busy inside, so I found an empty table out here. I also walked past the campsite just up the road here, so I might come back and camp there. I think it's £35, which seems quite expensive, but maybe that's what campsites in England are. It's a long while, it's a year I think since I camped anywhere, and that was in the Lake District, so it was probably the same price. But anyway, that's a decision for later. Now it's food time. Well, I enjoyed that rather indulgent stop. Now I'm walking back towards the van, and as you can see, I'm walking along the railway line. Well, the weather is closing in a bit. It's drizzly at the moment, not heavy rain, but there's more rain forecast, so I'm almost back at the camper, and then I've just got to decide whether to camp. Train again. Sounds quite busy actually, so where I'm parked was shown as a place you could stay the night, but I think it might be quite noisy. It's certainly been busy so far. Anyway, There is a campsite I passed in Edale, so it's either go there and maybe do a walk to one of the hills tomorrow, or head to the White Peak nearer to Matlock and that area where it's lower, possibly a fraction warmer, but by no means as scenic. So I will make up my mind in just a minute. Look, you can see walking over the river. Anyway, talk to you later. This is where I am, Newfold Farm in Edale. It's not cheap at £36 a night, even in February, which I don't know if it's more expensive in the summer or not. Anyway, there's my van, sort of level, although the ground is not particularly level, and this is the rest of the campsite. Toilet shower's being refurbished, but there's some over there, I'm told. And as I'm hooked up to electric, I'm going to experiment with a new purchase of mine. I think I put it up here. I did. It's a kettle, an electric kettle, a silicone folding one. And somewhere I think I have got a French version of this, so I don't have to use the adapter. But at the moment, obviously this is a French camper, so there's French plugs everywhere, but I do have an extension lead with an English one, so I will make myself a cup of coffee without using my gas for the first time. I'm looking forward to that. There we are. Kettle's plugged in. Coffee is on the way. No idea how long it takes to boil. I've booked here for 2 days. £72. But it all depends on the weather. I could stay here a third night, because I think probably that's a similar price to many other places in this holiday centre of the Peak District, but we'll see. It's raining, it's getting dark, but this place looks like an oasis. Just have to see what the beer's like. Well, it's a nice dry day. Rained on and off during the night, but it looks like it might be a good day today. I'm going somewhere up and over there. I didn't know that. This is just outside the campsite. The Pennine Way starts off there to the right, up there, because I walked down that last little bit. But today I'm going somewhere slightly different. Just spent a couple of minutes walking with that chap who lives in Sheffield and mostly walks the lakes, and some sun just came out. And my path takes me up the field here through that plantation. Well, I'm definitely out of condition. You just don't get a lot of practice when you're in Norfolk, and despite living only 2 hours away from the Pyrenees, I just rarely go. That's another thing that on my to-do list, is walking the hills a bit more often. Anyway, here I am in this fantastic scenery, walking uphill, out of breath, feeling the age. But it's not a race, and the views are terrific. Just climbed high enough for the wind to reach me. I stripped off a bit, including putting my beanie away, and well, I've just come above the trees there in the valley, and I've met someone who just said it's a lot more windy up here, so it's getting cooler, but it's still by no means winter weather. This is a relatively flat bit and also a little bit sheltered from the wind. I'm heading up there, I think. The path does go to the left or up to the top, but I might as well go at the top. I've still got some energy left, my legs haven't completely given up, although they're feeling the effort given how out of condition I am. And then I think it walks along the ridge there, the path. Somewhere up there is Kinder Scout, I'm not sure which one there. Might not be visible, might be over the ridge. And then I think I might come down by that stream. There's very little water up here, other than when it rains it's all boggy. So these sort of rock pools must be a godsend for sheep. Nearly at the top of this crag, Ringing Rocks or something it's called, I'll check in a minute. It's actually called Ringing Roger, although my guidebook doesn't explain why. These are fantastical shapes. I don't know whether it's wind erosion or glacial. Anyway, I can find a bit in the sun, and after the wind I'll stop and have a hard-boiled egg, as is traditional to have something to eat when you reach a summit, even if it's a small one like this. Bizarrely, it's still warm. Well, maybe it's only an hour and a half or so since I set off. Anyway, bon appetit. Very little about lichen or lichen, but I just spotted this little tiny splash of red. And in the distance there is Ringing Roger, which felt like a summit, but quite clearly isn't. It's just a crag. And now I'm going up to this one. I think a lot of this would have been very boggy in the past, so it's been paved, which does make it a lot easier and a lot less erosion, I suppose. It's difficult, I think, to get lost, maybe even in the fog, because for a lot of it you are following very distinct paths. So a little bit of a reduction on the strain of the mountain rescue, and steps as well for a lot of it. And this little what's it called? Small depression. The wind isn't so strong. Wind erosion. Look at the colour of that water. Sitting on a mountain, looking at the view. I can see quite a few people, but it feels fairly quiet. And I get easy to get philosophical. And I realised this week is going to be 10 years since I retired. And I think in those 10 years I've visited more countries, I've lived in more places, and I've done more things than certainly any other 10 years in my life, and possibly all the rest of my life put together. It's been tumultuous, shall we say. Interesting, has its ups and downs, good bits and bad bits, but I wonder what the next 10 years is going to bring. If you look back at my videos, you'll see most of it, because a lot of it has been documented. I think the only thing I haven't really documented is relationships, which have also been, what should we say, tumultuous. So yeah, this last 10 years has been a very interesting roller coaster, and I wonder what the next 10 years will be. Well, hopefully more ups and fewer downs. And this, though, it's cold and it's windy, but this is definitely one of the ups. I'm sheltered from the wind here and it's lovely. Temperature's a lot warmer as well. The air is quite biting, which is not surprising at the end of Feb. I'm climbing up to the top of, oh dear, hang on, I'll look it up. I'm at the top of Grinsbrook Clough, I think. No, Grinsbrook Knoll. That's on the top, Grinsbrook Knoll. This is Grinsbrook Knoll. Now, I'll start descending. Say this particular day has been difficult to find a route. I suppose without the guidebook thing I've got, leaflet, it would be possible to find the wrong route, but certainly the footpaths for the most part have been very easy to spot. A lot of them, like this one, have been man-made because of the erosion that you get in this peaty soil. Trees around it. Favourite sort of walk really. Horseshoe with the ridge walk in the middle. I find this sort of thing absolutely appalling, but also not really comprehensible. Someone who likes walking in the wild like this, but would chuck something down that's going to last for hundreds of years. Anyway, I'll take it home and put it in a bin. When you start descending, it goes really quickly. In no time at all, you find yourself almost back where you started. And here I am, back at the point where I joined this route yesterday. So I think I will have done the route without actually crossing my footsteps again. Just talked to another couple of chaps, both of whom were carrying GoPros. It's like everyone on the fells today has got GoPros with them or similar. So yeah, there's an awful lot of footage going the rounds for generations to come. They can see what it's like when it's all gone and ruined by environmental disaster. Or maybe not. Let's look on the bright side. Maybe all the people out here will help change it to a different future. A sweet little stream to finish my walk. The campsite is actually on the right here. You scramble up the bank and over the fence, you'll be in the campsite. Good morning. I'm up and about. It's 9:15. I've had a lazy morning, listening to the sound of birdsong and feeling the warmth of the sun. This is a lovely morning in the Peak District. I'll be heading off back to Norfolk in a little while. But what seems funny is the mountains all the way round. I don't know if it shows through the window. The mountains all the way round are all sort of covered in low cloud, but this valley is very different. It's like a little haven of sunshine. No, I'm not complaining at all. Isn't the campsite really busy? Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. I'll probably leave it here actually, because driving home is just the same journey that I did a couple of weeks ago, so not much interest, not much different. So thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.